Dave Anderson here with a Fisherman magazine. It's June 30th, and these are your headlines. First up, we got giant stripers all over the place, from Cape Cod Bay to Block Island, out to the Western Sound in Connecticut. If you're looking for your personal best, man, I mean, right now might be a great time to go look. We've got tuna whispers coming in from a lot of different places, but no definitive pin on the map. Fluke fishing is getting better in Connecticut. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
So before we begin, I just got a couple news items as usual. The first one is a canal fishing tournament that's going to benefit a veterans charity. That charity is called Mission 22, and Mission 22 seeks to help returning veterans reintegrate into normal society. It's a great cause. It's $50 to enter the tournament. It runs from July 29th to July 31st. And the big thing that you need to know right now is that you have to register by July 10th. If you don't register by then, you can't get in. They're giving away great prizes, including a custom ODM rod and reel. It's going to go to the winner, and they've got a lot of other awesome prizes. That $50 gets you a tournament t-shirt. It also gets you entry into the pig roast and raffle. And again, it's for a great cause, so who wouldn't want to do that? It's going to make you fish harder, and it's all good things. The other thing, of course, is the giveaway, which is ongoing. I got a darter for one lucky winner, and I have to tell you guys, I have two really good photos right now. I'm already kind of going, who's going to win this thing? So get those photos in by July 6th, and we'll pick a winner. But you're definitely going to have to up your game if you're going to win this one, because these two shots I got right now, they're killer. So starting off in Massachusetts, I talked to James Jukes. He said the surf fishing up on Plum Island has gotten tougher again this week. The guys are really struggling to put together good catches, but he said by far the best way to do it is with a live eel, and definitely got to be fishing at night. The boat guys are getting them day and night, he said. They're out in 30, 40 feet of water. They're getting them on live mackerel. They're getting them trolling. They're getting them on live eels, and they're getting some quality fish. I also heard about some nice fish taken on Joppa by a couple kayak guys. That hasn't been a real consistent bite, but the fish are there, and there's some nice ones being taken there as well. As we head down the coast from there, actually before we head down the coast, there also have been some kind of whispers of some medium-sized tuna out in the Gulf of Maine. It seemed like it lasted about 2 days. At least that's when the reports I was hearing kind of dried up. So those fish are out there. But it's still kind of in the beginning of the beginning stages, so just keep your ear to the ground on the whole tuna thing, but it is starting up. As we head down the coast from there, those bass off of Boston in the Harbor Islands and whatnot, that's still going on. Still some really nice fish being taken there. Still some really nice fish being taken on those ledges on the South Shore as well. But a new hot spot has opened up, and that is some open water fishing out in Cape Cod Bay. These fish are on bait, they're transient, they're moving around, so the first order of business if you're going to go out and look for them is to find the fish. So you're going to be looking for splashes, you're going to be watching the screen, and then you're going to let where the fish are showing in the water column dictate how you fish for them. Whether you're going to snap wire, whether you're going to throw flutter spoons, whether you're going to throw top water, or if you're going to get some mackerel and live line them. But there's some big fish out there. Definitely fish well into the 40-pound class. Wouldn't be surprised if there's been a 50 caught. I haven't heard about that personally, but those fish are out there, and it's a great bite going on right now. You just gotta do some recon to find them. For the surf guys, since the canal's been pretty slow, most of the guys are heading to the outer Cape right now. That bite seems to be centered around from like Nauset Inlet up to Marconi, no, further than Marconi, from Nauset Inlet all the way up to like LaCounce. And it's been mostly a nighttime thing. Slender baits. You're going to want to throw needlefish. You're going to want to throw hydro minnows or redfins. You're going to want to throw sluggos, things like that. There's been some bigger bait around though, and when the bigger bait shows, whether it's bunker or whiting or whatever, there's also been some topwater action. So guys are getting them first and last light, throwing big topwaters off the beach. Again, not giant fish, 15 to 25 pounds. I'm sure there's a 30-pounder in there somewhere, but the action's been pretty good. Definitely worth checking out. If you're looking for sea bass, you're going to want to fish Vineyard Sound. Guys are getting them 70 to 90 feet of water. Again, nothing gigantic. It's been the same pretty much this whole spring. I haven't heard of any really big ones, just fish kind of topping out just under 4 pounds. But good action. There's been some scup mixed in, and again, the bite's been very good. Fluking, I talked to quite a few guys that fished the shoal this week, Nantucket Shoal, and it kind of slowed down. Could be any number of reasons why, and can't say if I know why, but there's still some nice fish. I got a picture here of a 13.5 pounder that was taken on the first drift of the trip, and then they didn't get another like impressive fluke that entire trip. A couple guys I know went out there and they said they only got one nice fluke. I don't even think it was double digit. I think it was a 9 pounder. So that bite seems to be slowing down for whatever reason. Maybe those fish just moved up to a different shoal, but if you're thinking about taking the trip, you might want to wait and listen for another week of reports, because right now it seems like it's been a little slower. If you're looking for bluefish, you're going to want to head out to the south side of the vineyard off of Waysquee. Those rips out there have had them. Guys are getting it from the surf and the boat. There's been some nice ones. I haven't heard of any really big ones. Fish topping out around 11 pounds. But good action there. And then as we kind of swing back around, as I alluded to already, the canal's been a little off. It just seems like we're in between schools. That's what Greg McSherry was telling me. Talked to East End Eddie, and he kind of said the same thing. Been some fish going through. There's been some bluefish in there on and off, but it just hasn't been, even these first couple of breaking tides this week just haven't shown what we might expect for late June. So we'll just have to see what happens over these next few days. We got breaking tides this morning, we got breaking tides tomorrow, and even into the 4th of July weekend. So, it's kind of a wait and see thing, but definitely hasn't been what most people would expect it to be at this time of the year. I don't have any freshwater reports this week from Massachusetts, so that's the story that I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Over in Rhode Island, it's the same thing. Everyone's just striper crazy right now. And Rhode Island has 2 areas that are really pumping out good fish right now. You got Block Island, Southwest Ledge. I mean, everybody knows about that. And if you're going out there, it's been day and night lately. You don't have to be out there at night with eels. You can get them. I have friends that are getting them on flutter spoons. I got guys that are snapping wire. And then at night, you're either drinking soft plastics or you're fishing live eels. And you're going to be getting mostly fish in that 25 to 50 pound class. You might even get a true unicorn. I haven't seen one yet this year, but someone's going to get a 60. Someone might even get one bigger out there. And it's happening right now. I mean, it's on. So that's one place that's really looking good for bass fishing right now. The other place is pretty much from Point Judith over to Newport. Guys are getting a lot of nice fish in there. Trolling the tube and worm has been a really popular way. I've heard about some bigger fish from the surf in that area this week as well. All of those fish were taken on live eels. So boat guys are doing really well again, trolling. They're also going to be doing great drifting with live eels. If they're doing that, not a lot of guys doing it. The surf guys are definitely going to up their chances by throwing live eels. The last thing I heard about bass this week is just up in the bay. There's still little pocket schools of bunker with some bass on them, but it was described to me as almost being like algae fishing. The fish would pop up, and if you couldn't get a bait on them within 30 seconds, you might as well not even cast. So I think that's I think those fish are running out of the bay. I think it's kind of coming to an end in the bay. But there are still a few fish running around up in there if it's super windy or super lumpy outside and you want to give yourself the best chance of fishing in calmer waters. For sea bass, I heard it's kind of slowing down, but it also kind of depends on who you talk to. The fish have definitely moved deeper, so you're going to be fishing in 70 plus feet of water. And it seems like the further out you go, the closer to Block Island you get, the better your chances are for sea bass. Closer to home seems to be slowing down a little bit. You just got to fish those pieces that aren't getting fished as much, and you got to fish that deep water. Fluke fishing stayed about the same. It's not great, it's not horrible, and your best chances by far are to fish south and east of Block. Off the Misquamicut beaches, it's gotten a little bit better. Still way more shorts than keepers. The guys are working really hard to pull a few keepers out of there. Still hasn't really gelled, hasn't really come together in that area. Surf guys fishing down along the beaches are doing well in the daytime on porgies, getting some bluefish mixed in there as well. It's fish up to like 8 pounds for the bluefish. Guys fishing nighttime are definitely getting some slot fish from the breachways, a few overs, but that also doesn't seem like it's really come together and made itself known like it did last year. Last year we really had some banner nights down there. This year that hasn't happened yet, but maybe it'll happen in the fall. And that's the story that I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week. Over in Connecticut, the race for the second week in a row is just inundated with bluefish, but the good news from that area is that the fluke fishing behind fishes is finally starting to show signs of life. We expect to see that like 4 weeks ago, but for whatever reason, it didn't really ever come together till now. So that fishery is starting to come to life. Guys are starting to find more keepers out there from Isabella and beyond. So that's one thing to keep your eye on. The other thing that's really got people excited in Connecticut is just the sheer numbers of big bass. From the Connecticut River all the way to the New York line and beyond, you have a very good shot at catching the biggest striper of your life right now. There's a lot of 40-pound fish being taken, and there's more than a few 50-pound fish being taken. Guys are getting them on a variety of methods. The night bite seems to be especially good for guys throwing eels or drifting chunks. And the daytime bite's been a little slower, but the flutter spoons, the mojos, and trolling still putting some big ones on the boat. But that nighttime chunk bite, that's, especially from Milford out into New York, I mean, that's the hot zone right now. And this feels a little late for that. It's really coming together. And Max, he was too tired to do a report this week. I got this picture of him with a 51-pounder. That was taken the other night on a chunk. They got lots of other big fish. He said it was just silly, off the hook, amazing. Fluke fishing out that way, still very good, especially on the New York side, but more and more fish coming out of these closer waters now. And sea bass fishing has been phenomenal on those Western Sound reefs. Southwest, 6 Mile, some of the smaller ones in between, they're all putting out good numbers of sea bass. And the porgy bite has just been off the hook. Doesn't matter if you're fishing from shore, if you're fishing up inside one of the rivers, or you're dropping bait on a reef from your boat or kayak. It's just been good, and it just keeps getting better and better. And that's what we expect to see in July. As we roll over into July, that porgy bite really tends to come into its own and doesn't really let up until October. So things are really looking good in Connecticut, and things are looking really good, especially if you're a striper fisherman across the board. Before we wrap this up, I'm going to toss it over to Mike Roy from Real Cast Charters, hear what he's seeing this week.
Hey, what's going on, guys? For this week's Fisherman Report, we still are seeing more migratory striped bass arrive. It's what seems like on a daily basis. We have seen quite a few schools of fish this week that are loaded with sea lice, so that's an indication that they are fresh ocean migratory fish. And there's a lot of fish in a wide range of areas. So some areas you'll find fish loaded with sea lice. Other areas they do not have the sea lice on them, so they've probably been around here for a little while. The size range has been pretty consistent with a lot of slot-sized fish, a lot of over-slot fish, and plenty of 40-inch plus fish in the mix as well. And a variety of methods are working. Live bunker is always going to be probably the number one producer, but there are some days where the topwater lures, big soft plastics, and even doing some vertical jigging has worked really well. I spoke with Captain Seth from Captain Seth Sport Fishing, and he said that he's seeing a lot of big stripers locally his way, including fish over 40 pounds. Also some big blues, and for the bottom fishing on the Aubrey Joy, they still have some openings, and they are seeing some good sea bass fishing, some good porgy fishing, and we'll see what the new moon does. The new moon may push some more sea bass out and disperse them throughout the sound. Fish tend to migrate, bait tends to move on the moons, on both the new and full moons. So we have a new moon this week. So you may expect, or I would expect to see some changes. I can also say that I personally tried fishing a few different reefs that I normally don't fish, and all the reefs I went to had stripers on them. So there are a lot of fish in a lot of different locations. Good luck.
And last up, we're going to take another little plane ride down to Paradise, and we're going to hear what's going on down in Marina Pez Vela in Costa Rica.
Hey guys, checking in from the Marina Pez Vela, Costa Rica. This week's fishing report sees roosterfish here along the beaches, rocks and islands close to Capos. We've had some beautiful roosterfish in the last week, up to 40 pounds. Further offshore, we've had some really good wahoo fishing. We've released wahoo in the last week up to 60 pounds. Some really stunning wahoo, 40, 50, 60 pounders. Really nice fishing. We've had yellowfin tuna in the 30 to 50 pound category, and the sailfish bite has been pretty good as well. Just yesterday, my buddy released 8 sailfish. Hope to see you here soon, guys. Back to you.
And that's the story fishing wise this week. I hope you guys are going to find it useful. If you are a bass fisherman, you should be chomping at the bit right now. This moon has been moving some fish, and man, you got to get out there. Don't let this one pass you by. You got to get out there. If you're not a subscriber to the Fisherman, I highly recommend heading over to the website, checking out what we got going on. There's tons of free content there, and with a subscription, it's $30. You're going to get 12 issues, 12 paper issues sent to your house. You're going to get 20-something digital issues sent to your email. You're also going to have access to the issues from New York and New Jersey, plus all the reports from that entire region. It's the best $30 you can spend in fishing. So head over there, check it out. If you're still not interested, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube, and hit that little bell thing down there so you get a notification every time we post something new. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
In Dreamboat news, the fluke fishing has picked up, and so have the entries. This past week, angler John Mack from Fort Lee, New Jersey weighed in the 6th place fluke at True World Tackle. And angler Timothy Burns of Seaford weighed in the 7th place 8.7 pound fluke at South Shore Marine. The leaderboard remains the same. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman subscriber-only multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a new Steigercraft 23 Miami powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Subscribe now to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the action.
Hey everybody, it's Dave Anderson. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on what's going on in the Coastal Kayak Clash this week. This week we only had one fish entered. That was a 25 1/4 inch weak fish, which is good enough for 3rd place in the category, and that was entered by Eric Lopez. The leaderboard has not changed. Justin Oster is leading with 13 points. Mike Radzaszewski is in 2nd place with 4 points. There are a handful of others with 3 points. Still a long way to go. Lots of fish to be caught. Let's see what happens next week.